weeks, it would probably jump through the podcast system and strangle both of us. So I'm going to refrain from...
Oh, you sure did. I am so sorry.
You responded to me the whole time.
No, hold on. This is the earlier one.
Was it?
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't yesterday. It was the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday night.
I was talking about well, that makes sense. I remember that. We were talking about the Sunseeker and that you guys are going to come here. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Before that. So anyway, folks, I was in...
Oh, the drink you had. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now he's on. Now he's
2
there.
days ago.
Yeah. Well, okay. I just said that too.
You said yesterday.
Well, then I corrected myself.
What, you don't remember? Yeah.
Folks, leave it in the comments. Did I not say maybe it was Wednesday just before John finally found it? Anyway.
It might have been Tuesday, actually. I have it on the...
No, it was Wednesday.
Stand.
It was Wednesday. And here's why. So, folks, I was in Atlanta last week, or this past week. It's actually still Friday night. Cheers. Because I have a very busy weekend coming up, so we're not going to be able to record over the weekend. So, at the end of the day, a very long day.
At the end of the day, we're going to record at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we're going to record at the end of the day. Anywho, I was in Atlanta this week, and
yes, Atlanta.
I stayed at a Westin, which is a Marriott property, and it was the Westin Airport. You look at the building, you're like, borderline, but the room was beautiful. So they've actually put some time and effort into redoing the rooms. It was very nice. Bed was actually
right at the airport. Did you have to?
I heard the airplanes.
They
were flying right over. Yeah, it's right at the end of one of the runways.
Got it.
I can show you later. I have pictures. You can see down into the terminal from the airport.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's awesome. A ways away, but it's close.
Cool.
Because that property is massive. Anyway, It's right next to the airport Marriott as well. Which also looks old and tired from the outside. I don't know what the inside looks like, but the Westin has had some updates, which I was really nervous when I got there because I parked in the lot, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I parked in the lot, and they actually have a tunnel from the lot under the main entrance so you can get in. And when I started walking into that tunnel, I'm like, ooh, this doesn't look like it's been updated. It smelled great. And I'm being serious. I'm not being sarcastic. What? It smelled really good. You could see on the wall they had smell machines that were pumping out constant smell. I really did like the smell of this whole hotel. And
well, at least you would have had something nice to talk to the guy that was going to mug you when you.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I felt.
Doesn't it smell nice in here? Yeah. Here's my cash. Thanks.
But it was a short tunnel, and once you got up the stairs, you could tell that they've taken care of the rest of it. It looks decent. Nice. Could it be updated a little bit more? I'm sure, but the rooms definitely. So they might be doing it in phases. I don't know.
Awesome.
Anyway, I stayed there for 3 nights, and the first night was great, but I had dinner elsewhere. They have a restaurant in there, bar and restaurant, both. But of course, the restaurant also you can sit at the bar and eat the restaurant.
Sure. Yep.
So the first 2 nights I didn't do that. I did stuff with my coworkers. I ate snacks, blah blah blah. The last night, I'm like, okay, everything's really nice. I am finally going to sit down at the bar and I am going to have a drink.
And
I'm going to have, and I'm going to have a meal.
Yes.
So I sit down and I order, they have a special menu, which I sent you a picture of, and they showed you guys know my fondness for smoked drinks. They had a smoked old fashioned that I was really looking forward to. I'm like, ooh, I really want that. It's their special menu. It's sitting on top of their everything. It's sitting there. So someone called me, and it was someone that I hadn't talked to in a really long time. So I had to pick up the call. The bartender was very, very busy. It was only one girl behind the bar. She comes up while I'm on the phone. Of course, I probably sat there for 5 minutes, not on the phone.
Right.
Where she basically ignored me the whole time. And then she comes up while I'm on the phone, and I just point to the drink, and I said, hold on just a second, pointed to the drink, said, I'd like one of these, please. She's like, sure. Okay. So she goes off and she makes the drink, and I'm deep in the conversation. I pull up my computer, I'm working, I'm in the conversation, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then she comes back with a drink that looks nothing like an old fashioned.
I still have the picture, so I'm going to just show it.
Okay,
real quickly,
you show the picture.
So everybody,
I kept the picture.
Yeah, this looks like it's a magazine thing.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like.
What
with
it's
the dark
supposed
cherry,
to look like. Yep.
The orange slice, and an old fashioned. It looks like a smoking old fashioned. Okay, now show them the Now, I will say, when Jen looked at the picture, because I didn't tell her what it was, she said, because she knows what I do drink and what I definitely don't drink. And she said,
"Yep,
you had a whiskey sour?"
it kind of looks like that.
Yep.
I'm not, but this is what it really looked like.
Yep. It looked like a whiskey sour. Yeah.
Look at the false advertising on the cherry.
Right. Wrong kind of cherry.
Yep.
No orange slice. If there's an orange slice, maybe she juiced it and put it in there instead, because that's what it kind of tasted like. It tasted like a whiskey version of a screwdriver.
Okay.
It was not good. I didn't finish it, and when she came, I was still on the phone, and I looked at her. I said, "What is this?" She said, "It's an old fashioned," and she was really proud of it. And I was on the phone. I was busy, and I just didn't want to argue with her. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just And the guy sitting next to me looked at it, and he was like, "What the hell is that?"
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, she was by herself. She was overwhelmed. I wasn't gonna push it. So I graciously, yeah.
Well, nice of you to extend some grace. Was she attractive?
No.
Oh, okay. See, now that is, and the reason I ask is because sometimes when that's the case, you just go, okay, all right, thanks. Yeah, no. And I'm not saying,
I'm sure she was attractive. Right. I'm sure she was attractive to somebody, but I didn't.
Before electricity. Just kidding.
That's fantastic.
But that's happened it happens on different. I was in Indiana one time, same thing, visiting, doing some training at a dealer, and went into this. This is a nice, and I had eaten there before, I think, but they had terrific steaks and kind of in the middle of nowhere in Indiana. But I went in and I just said, I'm going to have a martini. And so I ordered it, Belvedere martini, straight up with olives. And I want it dry. And so if you're a martini drinker, you understand that a dry martini is with dry vermouth, but very little.
Yep.
Just a little dry vermouth. Well, she thought, being a relatively new bartender, that the drier means the more dry vermouth you put in, which you
could see how that
absolutely,
if you don't know, you could see how that could be mistaken.
Absolutely. So I wasn't, but I explained to her, because honestly, it came back, it was 1/3 vermouth. And even though that actually is the original mixture, it used to, the original martini, as I understand it, at least,
that's
was
a good
gin
amount of,
with 2/3 gin to 1/3 vermouth.
Yeah, it's almost, and it's actually almost like a Manhattan, because that's what you do with the sweet vermouth.
Oh,
this one is.
I've never done that much sweet vermouth, but yes, really? I know what you're saying. I don't use a lot of vermouth.
I do a 3/4 of an ounce.
Okay.
Sweet vermouth with 2 ounces of bourbon or rye.
Okay.
That's how I make my Manhattan. With
and
six dashes of bitters. 6 dashes. Got to do 6.
That was good.
Thanks.
I'm not sure who it was, but it was good.
Oh, I don't know. I could pull our buddy Mark Fussell. I could go, 10! Well, only he will know what that means.
But you can't.
10!
You can't pull it off without the beard. No. I'm sorry.
No, well, I've got something. I'm working on it.
Yeah, you have nothing compared to him.
If I hadn't trimmed it, it probably would look identical to his beard.
Mark's,
except white instead of red.
Again, here we're talking about the end of the day. At the end of the day, at the end of one day, Mark's looks like yours.
Yes.
One day.
One day.
Yeah. He can go and grow a beard, and it's just incredible how fast that happens.
Yeah,
but I love Fussell. He's a great guy.
The Fussell muscle.
I'm going to leave that alone. But yeah, it's funny because you think about how much, and the way I make my gin and tonics is 2/3 gin, 1/3 tonic to get that perfect. That is the perfect mix.
Yeah, that is the perfect mix.
But I found it funny, young bartenders, and I cut them some slack just because if they're busy or if they're young, and as long as they're not assholes,
right?
That's the
she was a little bit on. She was a little bit on the asshole side too. I'm going to admit that.
I get the difference between busy and being a jerk.
Yeah.
If you're a little busy, that's one thing. And you always give grace to that too. But if you're just kind of an attitude waiting to happen, I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm going to call them out and say, let's have a little talk.
I'll give her, again, I'm going to give her a little bit of grace because she must have been a new bartender. Obviously, she wasn't an experienced bartender. Otherwise, I would have gotten an old fashioned.
Sure.
However,
instead of a screwdriver.
with bourbon.
With bourbon.
And it was not cheap bourbon either. It was not bad bourbon. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
But there's also a thing, you shouldn't be left on your own if you're just a new bartender, where you have to look up all the drinks, because that's what she was doing. And I think this time she thought, oh, maybe I know how to make an old fashioned, because she didn't look it up. But every other drink beyond that, she was looking up. So,
really?
She was. Now,
and she's all alone.
And she's all alone. Now, she was on a shift change, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But
okay.
So since you were talking about the dry martini, while I was sitting there, again, this is the airport. So there were 3 flight attendants that came in, 2 men and a woman, and they came in and ordered drinks. And one of the gentlemen, he very loud, because I could hear him talking about his husband and all the stuff. But anyway, yeah. So
my husband.
He looked at the bartender. She finally got over there to him, and he looked at the bartender and said, I want a dry martini, and I want it so dry that all I want you to do is look at the vermouth. I just want you to look at the vermouth.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she looked at him dumbfounded.
Yes, because he thought he was being funny.
And no, she knew he was being serious, but she's like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And
he thought he was being funny.
He thought he was being funny, and he had to explain it to her. He said, that just means I want the gin and nothing and the olive, and that's it. But it was like 3 times he had to explain what he wanted to her, and she was just.
But that somebody like that, and she's waiting tables too.
Well, okay, so let's get to that.
All right.
So the very next thing,
I
get my drink on the phone, and she's busy. She's running around. Now, the bar is not busy. I have been a bartender before. You've been a bartender before.
Yeah.
The amount of people that were at the bar, I would have been. They would have had like 3 rounds of drinks already.
How many? How many are we talking about?
6, maybe at the most 6.
Okay,
not many people,
right?
And not difficult drinks, especially because I personally ordered something that was on the menu. So they should have that one down pat.
Yeah,
When you work at a restaurant and they have specialty cocktails, you know that by heart. You don't have to look it up every time. The guy next to me had a gin and tonic. The other people had had martinis. They weren't hard drinks, and a couple of the other people had beer.
Yeah.
So,
but I will say this: you should know them, or if you don't know them, you should not be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So the bar manager did come later during the shift change, which is a whole other story. So I'm sitting there, and I'm probably sitting there for about 20 minutes before she finally gets back to me and said, "Do you need anything else?" And I said, "Yeah, I would love to order some food." And she's like, "Okay, what would you like?" And I said, "I'd like the turkey BLT."
I'd like you to grab a pen and paper.
Yeah, right. We're getting to that. So I ordered a turkey BLT, and she said, "You want that with fries?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." She said, "Okay, do you want that for here or to go?" And I said, "I'd like that for here, please." And she's like, "Great." She goes over to the POS, the point of sale.
Point of sale.
Types it all in. She brings the place setting to me with a napkin and the silverware, sets it in front of me. Then she said, "I'm going to get you your bill. Is that it?" Yeah, okay. So she brings the bill. I guess that was when I finally realized she was actually doing a shift change. So I signed the bill and hand it back. I didn't really look at it, but
and my tip. Yeah, I'm going to get my tip.
You got to get my tip. So I'm sitting there, and it took about 20 minutes for a sandwich to come out. Not even a hard sandwich. A BLT.
6 people at the bar, but were there people in a restaurant?
Maybe 4 or 5.
Gosh. Okay. Gotcha. All right.
It was not busy whatsoever.
Getting the picture.
Yeah. So, okay. Ordered my meal, said I wanted to eat it there. I'm just working, typing away. 20 minutes later, the guy from the kitchen comes up with a bag with my to-go order in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. I said, "Thank you very much." Grabbed it. put my computer away, walked up to my room. I said, I just can't. I will go. If I have to ask for one more thing and get not what I ordered, I'm done. And I know, okay, this is first world problems. I know I'm a bougie asshole. I'm going to admit that right up front.
But you know what?
Still,
well, wait, was it expensive?
It's $40.
Okay, so one bad drink and a meal not the way you ordered it.
Right.
For $40.
For $40.
Yeah. I think, look, we know what goes on these days. It's so tough to get good people, and we've created that, sadly. It's been created, let's say.
Yeah, not you and I, because we only hire rock stars.
We used to. but it's true. Everybody says, "Oh, it's tough to get good help." Well, you got to create good help if you're the manager, and usually it's the management's fault that this stuff doesn't work out.
Or is it you?
It really is. It's not.
Let's find out.
People that are inept.
I'm doing a speed
It's the ones that
test
hire
now
them
to find out if it's me or if it's John.
And that's
it
what
is
happens.
Me. That sucks.
And you're frozen. Either that or you're holding a really good pose. I've got to take a picture of this because this is, in the event that I'm not frozen, which I probably am, and Nick is just going on, I just want him to see how he looks frozen because he is like frozen solid. And then at some point, he's just going to go away and he'll come back and blame it on my internet, which is not my fault. Elon and I have taken it over, and we've done very well. Thank you. You know what? We have not had this trouble for a long time. So I don't know why we're having it now. And I'm going to just stay live and see if Nick comes back. In the meantime, I can tell my story because he had a lot to say. So I wanted to make sure I got this out. When you have specialty drinks, you need to know how to make those drinks. And I'm just blown away by how some people do not. How some, I don't know what it is. They have these specialty menus. There's a restaurant that Lisa and I have been to more than once here. And we've given them plenty of chances. 5 times we've actually been there. And I remember because the 5th time was the last time. But she ordered a drink, and the guy goes, we're out of that. And I'm like, we're out of that? How does that happen? I'm just finishing up. And so she just doesn't get the drink and orders something else. If it's on a menu, you got to be able to serve it. And so I'm just building off what you said earlier, Nick, about especially if it's a specialty drink, you need to know how to make the darn thing.
Need to know how to make the darn thing.
And you're going to have to listen to the podcast now, Nick, in order to hear.
I'm hoping the AI will actually tell me what it's. So I don't know what happened. My internet completely gone. So I'm on my phone right now. So I switched over to my phone.
Oh gosh, yeah, you are. You're blurry, but still very handsome.
Well, thank you. Well, blurry is probably an improvement.
Please don't make me say that. But
I wasn't going to. I said it for you. So not knowing anything about what you said, I completely agree, or maybe I completely disagree. But one or the other.
Perfect. No, you agree completely.
Okay, good.
It's
good.
Going to a restaurant that we've been to before, and they just did not. They had a specialty menu of drinks, and they couldn't make them, and they're just like, really? So you hit the nail on the head when you said that, because that's what happens.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Honestly, one thing I was really excited to actually eat at the restaurant, because it was every time I was up there the 2 days before that, it was packed. People seemed happy. Probably lubricated, but still with the wrong drinks, obviously. The food looked phenomenal when you're looking at the menu and online. And even though I realize, being in marketing especially, that your food is always it's not always going to look exactly but there's a level. I mean, there are levels. If it looks like it's a 5-star restaurant and you go in there, you expect the food maybe to be 4 stars. This was... The food looked 5 stars, but it was maybe, the food was good. I will say that the sandwich I had was really, really good.
Okay, well, that's good.
but not like mind-blowingly good. Like the way it described thick cut turkey with this type of perfect bacon and the
it's an airport hotel, though.
It's an airport hotel, and you can expect the airport food because it was like thick cut turkey was only thick because they folded it 3 times. So yeah.
Yes. Right. Nice.
It was, there are no words. So, and then here's my other disappointment with this hotel. And it's not just this particular hotel. So obviously I work in the car business. Almost all of you should know that by now, unless you're brand new. John as well does too. And so that's our bread and butter. And so the whole reason I was there was to meet with car dealers. And part of the conversation with the car dealers was we were talking about EVs versus plug-in hybrids and things like that. And we were having deep conversations about, why they're struggling with EVs. You've probably seen that all over the news. We're producing more EVs than there's really people to buy them at this point.
Yep.
You all know that I drive a plug-in hybrid. We've talked about that ad nauseum. One of the frustrations that most people have, and one of the reasons I think that most people don't want to buy an electric car, there are a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is the infrastructure. There really isn't that much out there. And so
that's one of the main ones for sure.
And so with this trip, I decided to go ahead and drive my Jeep. Thank God it had an engine, because I did not charge the battery once in the entire week that I was gone, because this hotel, it's also a conference center. So this hotel has about 1,000 rooms, maybe a little bit more than 1,000 rooms. John, can you tell me how many chargers? How many chargers? Now, I will say they have chargers. Can you tell me how many chargers they have for a hotel the size of this hotel? How many chargers do you think they have?
I know exactly how many they have. They have 4.
Wrong. They have.
That was just a guess.
It was a good guess. They have 2. But look at my balloons.
I was seeing double.
Yeah. They have 2.
Because you did 2, yes.
Because I did 2.
Yeah.
They have 2 of them, but one of them, they had 2 parking spots. One of them had a sign in the parking spot, one of the parking spots, that said reserved for hotel shuttle. So you only had 1 spot open with 2 chargers. It was absolutely, and of course it was all full. And I'm sitting here parking in the parking lot, and I've got, 3 Teslas on one side, 2 Teslas on the other, and then mine, and we can't get into this charger because there's, another car charging in that place. It's like I never had the opportunity to get into that charging. I take that back. I did have one opportunity, but it was only a pass-through. I will only been able to leave it there for 15 minutes, which really wouldn't have charged my battery very much. Would have gotten a whopping 10 miles out of it. Yeah. So it was ridiculous. There's just no infrastructure for it. No infrastructure, no good infrastructure.
Well, so that is one of the big reasons. You are correct. And there are others, but, and we've talked about them too. And look, I have nothing against a BEV or a hybrid. And I think we've said before, Nick, that hybrids, I think, are a better call for general use. And I think it's a much better way to go. But I got to tell you that, they're forcing it down our throats. That's how it feels to me. And that's really the biggest problem. There are other things that we've talked about before, like cold weather performance and towing performance and what it does to battery life and so on. But I, as first world problems, as an American, you can't tell me what you're going to be doing to me. And you have to have one. And this is just an extension, if you ask me, of what's going on around the world. The UN, well, you can't eat meat, Americans, because you are, you're eating too much meat, and the methane, it's really messing with the bullshit. Excuse the term.
Yeah,
my pastor is listening. That's ridiculous. And so you run into all this stuff where people are telling us how to do things and forcing things down our throats. Americans will not stand up for that. So at some point, and it takes a lot, as we've seen more than once, but at some point you're going to get some pushback. And when it comes, it's not going to be pretty.
I think you and I should find an island somewhere that's unincorporated by any country and make it our own country and call it.
Can we bring women with us, please?
Sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we're clear on this. Potty Island.
Potty Island. Potty Island. There you go. I was going to say the United States of Potty, but Potty Island works too.
I think Potty. Well, it's not going to be a big island. It's not like we have to have states.
Yeah, well, it's not like we can afford.
Yeah. Let's go to the small state. What's the smallest state? Rhode Island. That'll be where the outhouse is. Mm-hmm. So no offense, Rhode Island. No offense, but yeah, we don't need states. I think Potty Island is.
Yeah, I like Potty Island.
And you have to make it sound kind of scary. Welcome to Potty Island.
That's good. Like that's good, John. It's so scary. It's not at all. I wasn't scared.
I could tell
you're not scared. You're just not scared. You're just like a cuddly teddy bear.
But scary teddy bear.
Sorry.
No?
You know where the really? History?
That's
do you know the history?
You're several miles away.
That's true. You know the history of the teddy bear?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Yep. I'm glad someone knows. That just made my day.
Wow, because I knew something.
Well, you know a lot, but I seriously get made fun of because what I refer to, and I know she's definitely not listening. Her name is I can't remember her last name at all, but her name was Molly.
Wow.
It was in high school. Her name was Molly. She was a friend of mine in high school.
Molly in high school.
And we were in theater together, and she always referred to me as the vessel of useless knowledge. So I've used that pretty much all my life. I am a vessel of useless knowledge. So whenever I throw things out there, most people are like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. And most of them don't care whatsoever. I'm so happy that you actually know the answer to that question.
Well, I'm old, so that has something to do with it. But
so old.
But Molly, I think you may undersell us. Maybe Molly is a new listener, and
you never know.
Maybe she'll be calling you or sending an email or visiting us at PoddiMouths.com.
Yeah, she did actually go to University of Wisconsin-Madison, and actually lived in Madison for a long time. She was a librarian in Madison for a very long time.
Molly, the librarian.
Yep, but I think she moved. I think she and her family moved somewhere else. I don't know.
That's interesting because now she'd be younger, but a good friend of mine with whom I went to high school, and she just coincidentally emailed me the other day because she's trying to get us to do our class reunion, and I won't say how many years. Holy crap, 45.
10?
And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, thanks. No shit.
I'm trying to help.
But she, thank you. Yeah, it's my 10-year class reunion. I was held back a few
10
years.
10 years for the fourth time.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, she went to Madison and was in the librarian program.
Oh, interesting.
And so, yeah, but that would have been probably 20 years before your friend Molly.
Yeah.
So
probably. Yeah, because that's about about the right. Yeah, it's been 22 years, 23 years, 22 years. It'll be 23 next year. Yeah, which is not very far away.
Just saying. Yeah, that's coming right up.
It is. I keep dropping my pencil. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah, I wondered what you were dropping. That's fine.
Well, I have a habit when I'm just trying not to do things of flipping my pencil.
Oh, you flip your pencil.
So this pencil is not balanced very well, so I keep dropping it.
Apparently not. Can you do that with drumsticks? No. Drumsticks, that.
I can't drum. Okay. I don't have rhythm. That's
but really if you got good with the drumsticks, you wouldn't have to.
It's really hard to try to learn to play an instrument if you don't have good rhythm.
It's not easy. But have you? Oh my gosh! And speaking of that, have you seen? There's a YouTube dude that is, I can't tell you his name, L something, and it sounds like he's Eastern Bloc
Woods,
part of the world. L something. He is the finest, not finest, the most crazy talented drummer I think I've seen since John Bonham or who's the guy that I love these days? Can't think of it. He's the Dream Theater drummer, and his name escapes me, but my son's
It
a
must
big fan.
be an Eastern Bloc thing, because there's a woman who actually comes up quite a bit in social media feeds who is Eastern Bloc. She lives here, I think, or here or in Canada, but she's from the Eastern Bloc, and she's an amazing drummer, very young.
Yeah. Well, I've seen several of them out of there. There's, I mean, no doubt there are. Mike
Ditka.
Mangini. Mike Mangini is the drummer for Dream Theater. He is the finest drummer I've ever seen. And there are many other really good. Mike Portnoy, who used to play for Dream Theater, and some of the others. But anyway,
there's another one
Mangini's the best.
I follow, and he's really famous. And I hate the fact that I can't remember what band or what name, but he's really, 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 really super famous. But he has an account where he just sits behind the drums, and whoever's in the booth said, "Okay, here you go," and they play a song, and it's a modern song, and he'll listen to it for like 2 minutes, and then he'll play with it and just, I mean, blow it out of the water. Now, whether or not that's actually true, where he's listening to it for the first time or not, I don't know. But my old roommate in college, actually, is Walker. I don't know, Walker, if you're listening, buddy, I miss you. I don't think he even knows we have a podcast, but what? I know, and because I talked to him so little. But he was an amazing musician, and he could do that. He could just listen to a song once and pick up a guitar. His major in college was jazz performance guitar.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. And he could pick up a guitar and play anything. That's awesome. And he could actually play the drums. He could play the piano. He could play everything. But his main thing was the guitar.
That is my son, who is capable of playing anything. But he was a percussion major in college. So this is the guy. Just put it in chat. This is the guy's name. El Estepario Siberiano.
Okay. It's in chap.
Dude,
it's in chap.
Chat. I fixed it.
I know.
Of course, you can't tell.
It's in chapstick.
Is your internet back now?
Yeah, my internet's. I don't know what happened to it. It was weird.
I don't either. It blew up. Well, we haven't had trouble like that for a long time. Anyway, you have to check this guy out, because oh my gosh, he is just crazy good on the drum kit. Crazy good.
You're a drum kit.
See, this is you only having one cocktail. Now you're getting belligerent.
Yes. All right, I'm following. Oh,
you know how I do my thing.
You can hear him now, can't you?
Yeah, and it's fine.
I'm subscribing. PoddiMouths.
You have to.
PoddiMouths just subscribe to him.
Terrific. Yep. As if I don't get him in my rotation enough as it is. The guy's just incredible. And you see, and they do the reflection. They have they call them duets. I think you're familiar with that, where you watch somebody watching him, and these are like drum instructors and professional drummers, and they're just like watching him.
Nice.
The guy is just incredible.
So John, new segment.
Yes, Nick.
New segment to the PoddiMouths podcast. And I don't know how well this is going to go, because I just thought of it in the last 5 seconds.
Oh, good. Great.
We have a comment on one of our videos. We have one comment.
Okay.
We have several comments, but one that's actually real, because the other one that literally we have one comment from a day ago that says, "Please watch and rate Nina Iris speeches in The Voice 2023. Nina Iris performs Love Song."
Boy.
But that's not that one's junk, and I'm going to actually thumbs down that one, because it sucks.
Ooh.
I'm going to thumbs up this other one that came from @Vehicle one day ago.
@Vehicle Nanny. I love those guys.
No, I haven't had a chance to watch yet. But when did you bring Harry Carey onto the show?
Oh my gosh! Yes, that was the awesome. Hold on, I have the glasses here.
Oh, he's got the glasses.
Hey, Steve. Yeah,
it's not Steve, it's Bill.
And I know Bill's loving that. No, Steve was his broadcasting partner.
But Bill was.
No, you don't.
Bill was the one. I haven't even finished my cocktail. You sucked yours down.
I know.
Bill was the one who
not
asked,
gone yet.
And I'm gonna love it too. I hearted it and I loved it.
Wow, heart and
loved. Now I hope you all can heart and love and subscribe and like to this episode on PoddiMouths on YouTube and on all of the other places where we can find us.
Those other places. You know what? I got to tell you, folks, we would love it if you would encourage others to listen and to subscribe and to join us,
or punish them by having them do the same thing.
Maybe, but have them do that, and we will get to Poddy Island. And once we have purchased the island, we're going to bring listeners there and viewers
now, John,
to Poddy Island.
John, I do have to say, personally, Poddy Island doesn't have to be anywhere warm either. It can be on a lake somewhere. There are lake islands that are for sale.
Yeah, it needs to be warm.
You and Lisa already want to be snowbirds, so you can just spend half the year. You guys spend the warm part of the year up there, and I'll spend the cold part of the year up there. Problem solved.
We can afford one island. It's probably an island off Greenland or something like that, and it'll be. It
was a great. My mom and my stepdad got married on an island in Wisconsin on Little Sissamabagama. Say that 5 times fast. Little Sissamabagama.
I have no idea where it is.
It's somewhere.
It's
in Wisconsin. Yeah.
You're going to have to make sure you send me the link to Little Sissamabagama Island.
Little Sissamabagama. Anyway, that was at one point for sale, and it was an old camp. So there were cabins on there, and there was a mess hall. And
you know what? I would consider that island as Poddy Island.
Wouldn't that be cool?
With you. I see what you're saying. That would be kind of cool.
We're jiving now. This is why this podcast is so successful.
This is why, if we were really successful, though, we could already afford Poddy Island. Damn it.
Truth. You know what? You know what? The truth hurts, guys. We need to work on that. We definitely do.
We do.
We need to go do some positive woo-woo and earn this island. Earn it. Not just get it for free.
Poddy Island.
Not let the government give it to us. We're gonna earn it.
But I'm seeing like a TV show and everything coming from Poddy Island.
It's going to be a reality TV show. It's going to be the most boring reality TV show you've ever met because hey, people will still watch.
But we'll have a good bartender, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. We're not going to
whoever you and I will mix drinks.
Yeah, whoever's going to do that, whoever's going to be the bartender will know how to make. Not only will they know how to make a Manhattan, of course, but an old fashioned. They'll know how to make an old fashioned,
a dry martini.
They'll know how to make an old fashioned with bourbon. They'll know how to make an old fashioned with brandy.
Brandy. If it's a Wisconsin island, there's going to have to be brandy.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So Nick and I will be the bartenders if you buy us Poddy Island. So think about it. I mean, I don't think it can cost that much in Wisconsin. I mean, how expensive can it be?
Not very at all.
Yeah.
Compared to
I'm not going to go ice fishing. You'll be there in the winter, though.
Oh, I will not. Ice fishing.
I will be down here in the winter.
The best part of ice fishing is?
Do that. Waiting for it to melt.
Well, no, I was going to say the drinking.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I went ice fishing once and came back with 100 pounds of ice.
Nice. I went ice fishing once and came back with a major hangover.
Go figure.
No, John. Go fish. And on that note, speaking of, not on that note. You know, on that note.
Okay.
On that note, did you hear the bad news? John has to take a drink before the bad news.
Yes, I did.
Is that not sad?
What's the bad news?
What's the bad news?
What's the bad
news?
This
is the upcoming episode of the Grand Tour is the last episode of the Grand Tour ever.
What?
Yep.
Wow. Yep. That does suck. I'm a big fan. Lisa and I both are big fans. We enjoy it.
I even let Peyton watch it, even with the
there's a lot worse stuff she's exposed to than that.
You're absolutely right.
And that humor is just priceless. It's a whole
British
different. Humor. I do too, but it takes me a minute, like watching a Monty Python movie.
Yeah.
It takes me like 5 minutes to get into it so I can understand them.
Yeah.
Every time I listen, it just takes a minute.
So, have you ever seen the show Allo Allo? From the late 80s.
No, but you've mentioned it before.
I highly recommend watching. I think you can find it on, I know you can find it on Prime. I think you can find it on Netflix or Hulu, one of those. I would highly recommend just watching it. I mean, it's if you don't like British humor, you're going to hate that show. But if you have an appreciation for British humor, I mean, I was a kid and my parents thought I was so weird because I loved British humor.
They were right.
And they're not wrong. I love that show. I loved it because it was
Yeah.
so funny and so subtle and not
That's
subtle
awesome.
and not subtle at the same time. It's kind of like there's a
Got it.
modern television show called Ghosts.
Mm.
The first season was British. Then, just like The Office, they brought it to the United States and made an American version.
Yeah.
I love the American version. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
But the British version is just this much higher. And I just
Sure.
really enjoy it.
Well, and it was different. I mean, The Office was different. But when Ricky Gervais made an appearance on the U.S. Office, which was way more successful, he was hilarious. Oh my gosh, he played such a funny role, and just just to see that collaborating like that and connecting, it was pretty awesome. Pretty cool.
He was still writing the American one too, wasn't he? Wasn't he one of the writers?
I don't know that. That's a good question. I don't know that.
Well,
I know they had several of the actors producing.
Yeah, we're going to save that one for the next PoddiMouths episode.
Which would be great if we could do it on Poddy Island. If you instantly made a deposit into PoddiMouths.com, I don't know if you can do that, but let's just say you bought
a lot of coffees.
Buy like 1 million t-shirts.
Yeah.
Then that would be enough for Poddy Island. We could do that.
The t-shirts, the profit we get on the t-shirts is pretty low, so you have to buy 1.5 million at least.
Maybe we'll have some pre-worn t-shirts. You know how athletes they have like their game worn. Yeah. So we'll do like game worn t-shirts that we'll sign.
I'll tell you what, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, the PoddiMouths shirt, not the shirt under it, but the PoddiMouths shirt, I will sign it and send it to you for $100,000.
Wow. That's pretty good.
You can have this shirt. I won't even wash it.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting the feedback from our viewers and listeners.
Our listeners? See, we just try to shorten everything.
We need to, because otherwise there's just useless talk.
It is. Well,
that's not
that's
us.
The PoddiMouths. No, that really is truly us. That is us in a nutshell. No, this is us in a nutshell. Help, I'm in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh. Nicely done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what one Manhattan will do for me, folks.
Yes, I know. But wait to see what two. He'll do the same joke, but he'll be butt naked.
No, that's tequila. That's a completely different cocktail.
Oh, okay. Well, let's leave that alone then.
I actually had a friend, and this is the last thing I promise. I had a friend that used to seriously say, I can't drink tequila because it makes my clothes fall off.
I like it.
Yep.
And on that
note, have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. And I know we've mentioned it several times, but head up to PoddiMouths.com to see all of the episodes. Check out our merch store and see some websites and links to some of our past guests and show them some love. Bill being one of them, since he was on the podcast recently and just was highlighted before his great comment on the YouTubes. The YouTubes that are owned by the Google.
Googs.
The Googs. John, it's been a pleasure as always. I'll see you soon.
Good to see you, brother.